everybody. I'm going to give it a hot second for you guys to jump on. I know it's getting late for us East Coasters, a little bit late. But I'm just going to wait a second. Ooh, we got a viewer. When I first got asked to do this group, I started thinking like, wow, this is a lot of people. Like, I didn't know how many people were going to be in this group. And I started feeling like this is probably going to be the closest thing I will ever experience to my childhood dream of being a singer. Hi guys, hi Victoria, hi Lauren, hi Megan. Oh, my friends are jumping on, yay! So this is what I want you guys to do so that we can get to know each other a little bit. If you are watching it live with me, can you put a 1 in the comments and then what you wanted to be when you were little, like what you wanted to be when you grow up. And then if you're watching on the replay, you can do the same thing but put a 2. So put a 2 and what you wanted to be when you grow up. So when I was little, I wanted to be a singer, like a rock star singer. Like it was like innately in me. I just wanted to be a singer. And it's so funny because like my daughter is this same exact way, and I've never even like taught her anything about that or anything. She just like, what she does for fun is she stands up on our fireplace and she takes a fake microphone and sings. It's so crazy how like your kids become you. So yes, put a 1 if you're watching live and what you want to be when you grow up, and if you're watching the replay, put a 2 and what you want to be. And I will go through after this is over and read them and get to know you guys a little bit better. I think it's kind of a fun way that we can quickly learn something fun and interesting about each other. So, all right. Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Mandy Odle. For those of you guys that don't know, I'm going to try not to read the comments till the end, just so you guys know, so that I don't lose my train of thought, because that does happen. But my name is Mandy Odle. I'm a mom of 3 kids. I have 2 boys. One is 10, one is 5, and a daughter who's 3. And I am married to my college sweetheart, and we've been married for almost 12 years, 11 and a half years, long time. And I have been a makeup artist like my whole career. I've been in Synagents for a little over a year. I started last end of September, beginning of October, and I am a Ruby Queen, Sapphire Queen, or Ruby Queen. I'm like right on the cusp, like a couple $1,000s off, and I did not check before this. So Team Mandy's Makeup Gurus, we are so close to another million, which is so exciting and fun. But that is a little bit about me. I'm going to quickly, briefly give you my shortened version of a Synagent story so that you guys that don't know me can get to know me a little bit, which I think is so amazing, you guys. I am still blown away at the fact that we are training other people's teams, that this is unheard of in companies, and I think it's amazing that all of us leaders were willing to get together and train each other's teams. It's just such a sisterhood, right? So, okay, so a little bit about me is that I told you I was a makeup artist. I've been a makeup artist like my whole adult life. Well, even actually like when I was a high schooler, I did a lot of my friends' makeup, but I had to know what this product was, right? As a curious makeup artist who owned dozens and hundreds and thousands of lipsticks, like I wish you could have seen the drawers full of lipsticks that I had. I had to know what this crazy lipstick was that didn't come off. So I followed a couple bloggers, Maylee and Jalen, and so I reached out to them, and I, of course, like a lot of you guys, signed up for the discount. I had to try this. I had to have it for myself. I had to have more than one color. So last year at this time, which is so crazy for me to think about, I had no team, nobody on my team. I was simply selling. And I was loving selling. I was in that honeymoon phase of the business. None of my friends had really bought any or heard of it at the time. because, you know, when you join, like, a lot of your friends are going to buy from you and your family. And so I was in that great honeymoon stage where I was selling like crazy, and I was helping pay for Christmas gifts, and I was doing all these Christmas fun things. And it wasn't until January that Maylee, my upline, finally convinced me that I needed to share this love and passion with the world and kind of open up to building a team. And so on January 1st, I put my why statement out there, and I started building a team, and my team grew from 0 to 60 to 200 to almost 2,000 now, and it's only been, that was January 1st of this year, so it hasn't even been a year, and whoosh, how things can change. And so that is just my whirlwind of a Synergent story, and I hope that you guys know that it can change at any time. Your life and your story and your Synergent story can change at any time. You never know what's coming and what the future has to hold. So, okay, so I normally, when I get asked to do these speaking things or when I'm speaking to my team, I know exactly what I want to speak on, and I pray about topics, or I get inspired by things out in the world, and I just know what I'm going to talk about. And so I wasn't very nervous about it until like a couple of days before, and I still didn't have a topic. And so what I did was I let my team decide what I would talk about, and I said to them, if you were to be trained on any topic, or if you want to, I'm going to speak, what would you want to hear me train on or speak on? And it was almost unanimous, guys. They all, like almost every single one of them said they wanted to learn how to continue to grow when you're in a slump, how to continue to grow, and how to stay motivated through that, and how to raise up leaders on your team. So staying motivated and continuing to grow in the business and raising up leaders from within your business. I mean, it was almost unanimous. So I was like, all right, that's what I'm going to be speaking on. And little did they know that was like really hard. Like, speaking on motivating is actually probably what I really need to be speaking on right now, if I'm honest with you, because normally you need what you don't have. And at the time, like seriously, up until a few days ago, I have been extremely unmotivated, if I'm being completely brutally honest with you guys. It's that time of year. It's that season where everything's busy. And I told you my story and how it was like a whoosh whirlwind of a crazy growth. And so I feel like I'm kind of coming down from my high a little bit, and as sad as that is, I'm kind of like leaving the honeymoon phase a little bit. And so lately I've been super unmotivated, and I can blame it on a lot of things. We're busy with the kids, almost overwhelmed with the amount of things I feel like I want to do and need to do for my business. There's sales and there's all these things that you could be doing, and it's almost so much that you get overwhelmed. And so when my team said that they wanted me to train on motivation, I sat down and I had to study and I had to think really hard. And you guys, I had to be real with myself, and it has been so good for me to do this the past few days. And also, one more thing that has really helped me is just this group in general. Like, I was so excited for this group to start. When Amanda Rupley first spoke, I watched her training. I was eating it all up. I was hungry for the knowledge. And then I loved everything she had to say, and I was on fire, and then I let it go again. I let myself get busy, and I let other things creep into my life, and I actually started like dreading this group. Is that bad? That's so sad. Like, I hate saying that, but I'm trying to be honest with you because I know we all go through this. And I started like feeling like I just wanted to avoid it until things slow down, until I get less busy. Like, I'm just going to make it through. I'm going to put on a happy face for my team, and I'm just going to make it through. But you know what I did? You know what I decided to do? I decided, no, That's not how a leader acts. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch these videos. I'm going to get on and I'm going to watch every single one of them at some point in the day, and I am going to like make it work. I'm just going to make it work. When I'm folding laundry, when I'm driving in the car, I'm going to watch the videos. And the positive vibes from all these girls and hearing all of them speak in all their different angles and all the things they have to say is totally rubbing off on me, and I'm like fired up again, and I'm so excited. And that's like the biggest way that you can stay motivated, is just what I'm telling you. I watched Heather Shriver Burns's video, and she was talking about how motivating yourself is a muscle. It's something that you need to flex and do every day. It's just like bathing. You got to get up and do it. You've got to wake up and choose joy. And it's not just necessarily going to be there easily every day. Some days it will. Some days it'll be easy to be joyous and happy. Some days it'll be a little harder. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings go like this. And so we do have to put on joy every day, and, you know, and want this for ourselves. So, here I go talking about how to stay motivated and how to raise up leaders. And so I hope that some of this can inspire you guys, and that you can take a little bit from what I have to say. I just have 5 points, so I'm not going to try to keep you way too long. I can be a rambler a little bit, and I'll try to like read some of the comments and questions at the end, but I'm going to try to get through this, okay? So, the very first thing that I have written down, and the very first thing that in general, in life, just in anything you do that I think will help you be successful, is knowing who you are, like truly knowing who you are, what makes you you, and what talents and gifts you have to offer. So I tell my girls this all the time, like everybody is unique, everybody is special, everybody has something good and special, and you know, something that makes you you, okay? Everybody has that. And sometimes it might not even seem like it would go with the business, but you need to sit down and you need to figure out what it is that makes you you, because you can't offer yourself to the world and to building a team if you don't even know who you are, right? So first off, I am a makeup artist. Like that's one thing that I always was, and it was a great thing to go hand in hand with this business, because I could offer makeup knowledge and things like that to a team. So that was one thing I wrote down about myself. What else am I? I'm not an organized person. I'm kind of like an artist, if you will, a creative mess. Things like that. You got to know who you are in all of these areas and just write them down. No matter if you think it pertains to the business or not, write down who you are. And once you figure out who you are, it will also help you just in so many other areas. Like once you'll, oh, this is why I do things that way. Like I am this, I do this. Okay, so you need to know who you are, and then once you know who you are, you need to own it. You need to freaking own it. You need to be so proud of who you are that no one's going to bring you down and nobody's going to tell you any different. Like you need to truly believe that you are a genius in at least one topic. I mean, I know like none of us are maybe actual geniuses. Well, some of you guys probably are. I'm not a genius, really. But I'm going to say, or I'm going to believe that I am a genius in at least one area of my life. I'm a genius in being me, who I am. I'm a genius in being Mandy Odle. And so if I truly believe that I already have all the good stuff that makes up me, then no one's going to bring me down, and all those no's and the naysayers, they're not going to bother me. So know who you are and own it. So one thing that it's crazy that this business like really taught me about myself. And as I was watching Natalie Shaw's video earlier too, she said, she was talking about herself a little bit, and then it's funny how like when you start talking about yourself and it seems like a little negative, you feel like you have to explain. And I felt this my whole life. Like I told you as a kid I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be a performer. Like I loved the spotlight. I don't know what it was about me as a kid, but at a very young age I wasn't nervous. Like actually we were laughing about this the other day with my family, but for kindergarten for show and tell, I dressed up like a present. Like I wore a big box into school and dressed up like a present, and I sang in front of my entire class. And I'm just trying to picture like my kids doing that, and I'm like, no, like my kindergartner or my fourth grader would never, ever, first of all, they would never sing in front of their class. Second of all, they would never dress up like a present. Like, how embarrassing. But I did that, and that is part of my story. Like, I do like the spotlight, and so even though I was nervous to go live here today, part of what makes me me is that I don't mind so much being a leader or being in front of others, and that used to make me kind of feel bad about myself. When Natalie was saying, like, she was born with like this ability to influence or manipulate, and manipulate in a good way, not in a bad way, but she said, you know, she was born with that, and I have been thinking this all along about myself. Like, I was born with, like, to be drawn to the spotlight or to want to be in a leadership role or an influencer role. And as a kid, I did musicals and plays, and then I moved on from that and I did cheerleading, and then I became a mom, and it was like there was no spotlight anymore, so I had to chase it a little bit. So I tried blogging and things like that. So it's like, it's not a bad thing about me. If you're using your talents and your gifts for good things, like to influence in a positive and good way, then it's not a bad thing. So you need to write down all the things about yourself, and even if they seem like they might be something negative, or in the past people have made you feel negatively about them, you need to know that they are they are what makes you you. So even if it is something you're a little bit embarrassed about telling or saying, like, it is true, and you need to be honest about who you are. Even the yucky things that you don't really like for people to say, because those things there is some positive to those things. Like, it is still something that makes you you, and God made you special, and so there is a way that you can use all the things about you for good. Okay, so once you know who you are, then, like I said, the doubters in your life, or the naysayers, or the people that are like making you feel bad, like anybody who's made me feel bad for wanting to do a blog or wanting to be in the spotlight, you know, oh, she just shares too much of her life, she's too much of an open book. Like, that doesn't bother me anymore. It used to really bother me, and I used to like live my life in a way that was like, wait, I want to share this, but I shouldn't share this, but like, I really want to share this, and no more. Like, Synergence has helped me get through that, which is amazing. Like, who I am is who I am. If I share too much, fine. People are gonna love me for who I am. So, that's the number one thing, and I think this is a big point for anything you're doing in your life, is knowing who you are, freaking owning it, and being cool with even the not so cool parts of your life. Being quirky cool in your life. The second thing I have written down is your why and your story. So these two things kind of blend in with number one, knowing who you are, but having a why and your story. So your why and your story are two different things. They do go together, but they are two separate things, and I want you to have both. I'm going to explain to you, the difference between the two of them, but I want you to write down a why and know your story, okay? So your why is your motivator. Your why is what's going to get you through the hard times. It's going to wake you up in the morning. It's what's going to, wake you up before the alarm clock. It's what's going to keep you up late at night. It's what's going to push you through those long hours. That's what your why is going to do. And your why needs to be personal. It can't just be to make more money or to pay for my kids' college. Like, it can be about your kids. It can be about your family. That's fine. But your why also needs to be somewhat about you. Like, unfortunately, we are selfish beings. Like, we were created that way. And you need to have something about you in your why, personal development. I don't know, something in your why that's gonna get you through the hard times. I told you guys I was a makeup artist before this, and so I'm still kind of doing the same things, some of the same things that I was doing before, but never, ever, ever before did I have so much like passion or joy about what I'm doing. Like, I've never like wanted to wake up before my alarm clock. It's crazy. Like I've done some really cool things with makeup. I've worked with celebrities. I've done fashion shows, like all kinds of really cool things, but I've never had so much passion about something as I do with SeneGence. And I think what it is that for the first time ever, it truly feels like my own business. You know, I did bridal makeup in the past, and that was my own business, but you know, even though I loved it, I didn't have as much passion. I was still lacking some passion. And I think it's so cool how in SeneGence, they make it so much your own. You know, that even other MLM companies, there's a lot of copy and pasting being done, and a lot of like, just not so real type stuff. And I feel like SeneGence is so real and makes you, just feel like, I mean, I know there's some rules that we have to follow, but not like, it's your own, like you get to make it your own. And so, my why is what motivates me every day. And and it's what gives me passion. Okay. So your why, and then your story is different. So you need to, like, just like I said, figuring out what makes you you, writing down your story is very important. And I tell my girls this a lot too, is that like they'll send me their story and I'll read it, and if I know them, I'm always like pushing them for a little more. I'm like, but I think there's more to this part. So just because you write down your story does not mean you have to share it just yet. So just these are exercises for you to do for yourself, but knowing your why, and you don't necessarily have to share it, like, but just knowing it, and then writing down your story and knowing your story. And that knowing your story, writing down your story will help you see the journey as it goes too. So, I'm going to share a little bit quickly too on this, because I know what you're thinking. Some of you are thinking like, I don't really have a story. Like, what is my story? I felt the same exact way. I felt like I am just an average, normal girl, that, you know, is married with kids, like yada yada. I live in a home in Indiana. Like, I have nothing special about my story. Like, I haven't been through anything hard. I have no trials and tribulations. Like, I should be like glad about that, right? But like when you're going to write a story, you want something compelling. Like you want something like, you know, on American Idol, they always pick the people that were like homeless or lived out of their car, or like whatever. Like I just felt like I don't have any of that. Like I haven't lost anyone close to me. You know, there's not been any defining moments in my life, but that's a lie. That's a lie too. I sat down and I like started to write out my story, and I was like, oh, yeah, like not everybody has those huge moments. A lot of people are probably more like me and have moments that are way more, I do have moments that are relatable to people, and so my story still can be relatable without some of those huge big moments. And what you do when you're writing your story is you need to think about when in your life were you the lowest, and you need to build around that. So, or what, was there a moment in your life that kind of like changed your thought about you, or about, you know, just a view, in life. And so I kind of wrote leading up to a point, and then how I came through that. And it's so crazy because then that is the redemption. Like you feel that redemption, and maybe you're in like the yucky part of your story, but just know that there will be a way out of that, and there will be a moment where you're like, I see why I had to go through all of that. I see why I had to do this, and this to get to this. And so that's kind of like what your story is. And your story is what sells. It's what sells you. It's what brings people to your team. So it's kind of like, if you build it, they will come. It's kind of like that. If you build your story, if you write out your story, you lay the groundwork, that's you, that's who you are, you will build a team. And so your why is what motivates you. Your story is what sells. And once you know who you are, so it's kind of those first three things, knowing who you are, writing down your why, and writing down your story, that's when you can really start growing and building a team, and the right people are going to come to your team. And the thing about knowing who you are, I forgot to touch on this. So many times too, girls say like, I don't know who I am. Like, I don't have any gifts. I don't have any talents. And that is so much baloney. Like, all of us have gifts and talents. Maybe even if it's just your gift or your talent is being a good friend. That is an amazing gift. That's an amazing talent. Like, to be able to listen or to be able to host. Maybe your talent is hosting. Like, you keep a very nice clean house and you can, at the drop of a dime, you can have people over. I mean, gosh, I cannot say that I can do that. I cannot say that. But I do have friends that are great at hosting, and awesome. We can host all the demos at their house. Like, everybody has a gift and talent, no matter how small it may seem. It can be used for something. And if you don't know what it is, what your gift and talent is, please ask a friend, ask your spouse, like, to ask them to tell you what they see in you, what good qualities they see in you. Because this is all these first 3 things I'm talking to you about, that's all laying the groundwork for growing your team. Yes, there's other things you got to do when you first join before you grow a team and start really building. But those things I feel like are the most important, and they're the groundwork, okay? So we're going to move on to growing. To grow, you got to eat, right? When you're a kid. So now I'm going to do an analogy of like being a kid and growing and how you grow through your adult years. So, when you are a kid, you eat to grow. When you are fresh and new in this business, when you're a kid, you eat like bland, just normal stuff, right? Like, let's see, what did I eat as a kid? What do my kids eat? Chicken nuggets, French fries, yogurt, cereal. You eat very just normal, bland stuff, right? But it works. You grow. I mean, you don't have to really worry about getting chubby or overweight, or you have so much energy, so much enthusiasm. You're just growing. And that's kind of how it is in the beginning of this business. Like, when you first start, you see immediate growth, right? Because when you first post about this crazy lipstick that doesn't come off, all your friends are like, whoa, what is this? Like, I have to see it for myself. So you start to grow. And then you grow and grow and grow. And maybe your huge growth doesn't happen right at the beginning, but you're planting all these seeds, and then you will have a growth spurt. At some point, you will have a growth spurt, and your business will grow. As long as you are continuing to work it and you plant the seeds, you will see growth at some point. And I mean, for some people it's in the first week. For some people it's in the first few months. For some people it takes a year. You never know when that's going to happen, but be ready, because as long as you're planting seeds and you're eating, and what I mean by eating is like feeding yourself. So you're feeding yourself personal development. You're watching trainings. You're growing yourself. Your team will grow. But as you grow, as you get older, you can't do the same things you did as a kid, right? So you can't eat those same crappy foods and still grow well. So I wrote down, there is a difference in growing well and growing and growing. So growing well and growing are 2 totally separate things. It's okay to grow big, like big, but you'll find that you could have a really big team that doesn't order, or you could have like a medium-sized team that everybody orders. So growing well and growing aren't necessarily the same. And that's the same thing as you're growing into an adult. Like, you want to make sure you're not growing this way, right? Too much. You want to grow like this way, like in the mind. Like, as I'm getting older, like, I want my mind to get wiser. Like, I want to grow that way. So I have to feed different areas of my body. I have to eat differently. I have to work out. I have to do different things. I have to grow mentally, physically, like all those things. And so, I also wrote this down. I heard this quote one time, better, not bigger. And that is so true. So we have to change things up a little bit. At the beginning, I was able to just go on Facebook and go, and people were like, wow, give it to me. I want it. I want some of this unrealistic. But now I can't really do that so much anymore. I mean, it still wows me, but all my friends who have seen it a bajillion times on Facebook are like, yeah, we know. We know. So I have to do it a little differently. And no, it's not saturated just because my Facebook page has seen it all. I still meet people every day who don't know about it. But look, I had to change up my approach. I had to figure out how to grow in a different way. And you're not going to be able to keep up with that initial, or when you do hit the growth spurt of your business, that is not going to be a long-lasting thing. That is a temporary thing. And when you're going through it, I know it's so exciting. And I think this is why I just recently became a little unmotivated, because I let it get the best of me, man. I was growing. It was amazing. I kept thinking, oh, by this point, I'm going to be here. By this point, I'm going to be here. Like, think about, our team is going to be so huge by this point. And I set unrealistic goals. I had no idea. And bam, things started to change. And instead of in my mind thinking, oh, growth is just different now. It's not necessarily bigger. Maybe it's more fine-tuning like people. Maybe it's, instead of getting, 20 some recruits in a month, I'm only getting 2 or 3, but I am being able to spend a lot of time with those people, and I'm able to really pour into them, grow with them, and it's just different. And it's okay. It doesn't mean like what you're doing is sucky or it doesn't work anymore. It just means you kind of change it up a little bit. And so some of my girls are hitting walls on my team, and they're saying, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to keep this growth happening. I don't know how to keep my team motivated. You have to be okay with change. Like, you have to be okay with the fact that something that you were doing a couple months ago might not continue to work. It might not be the thing that's working now, and you just have to be okay with it. You have to keep coming up with new normals. That's not to say that you won't have a big growth spurt or burst again. It's just different each month, each week, each day even. I mean, every day is different, and you just cannot get down on yourself for what you can't control. And so the growth thing is a mystery to me. It's different for everybody at different times, but you've got to know that there are seasons of growth, there are seasons of growth spurts, and growing doesn't necessarily mean bigger. It can also mean better. You can, I find that when I don't focus even so much on, I'm always focused on growing my business, but do you guys find this, that when you are even focusing on, your physical aspect of your life, or spiritual, or you're growing as a better parent or a mom, do you find that it kind of spills over into other areas of your life? I feel like when I feel immense growth in other areas, it spills over into my life. And so yeah, if right now you're in a season where you can't focus so much on the business, focus on growth elsewhere, and it'll happen. It'll happen for your business. So growth is never a bad thing, and it does not necessarily mean bigger. Okay? Personal development is so important. So this is one thing that I preach to my team. If you wake up in the morning and you feel unmotivated and you are grumpy and you don't feel good about yourself or whatever, like I was saying about when you take care of yourself, don't get online. Don't go talking to your team. Don't spread that negative stuff around. Please. I tell this to my team all the time. Take a break. Go do something for yourself. Go fill up your cup. You're not going to be able to lead your team with an empty cup or with a grumpy attitude. Go do something else. Even if it's you need to take a hiatus for a week, even if you need to take a week-long break, tell your team, don't just abandon them. Tell your team, hey, I've got a family emergency, or something's going on, partner up, buddy up, find someone to be accountable with. I promise I won't leave you. but I need to work on some things. Go freaking work on them and then come back better. That's the thing though. You got to come back and you got to come back better. But don't spread negativeness around your team. If you need to complain about the business, I mean, hopefully we don't have a lot to complain about, but if you need to complain about the business, do it to your upline. Do not spread that junk around to your downline. You have to believe at the heart of Synergence that everything that they do is for our best and for our good, and that if something is wrong, that it's just a mistake and it's not meant to harm you, and you got to believe in that the heart is good. And so complaining just shouldn't happen, doesn't need to happen that much. And keeping yourself positive and only spreading positiveness to your team, that's what's going to grow it. You don't want to be known as a leader that's always like questioning. That's questioning is kind of like a negative thing, I feel like the leaders that always want to like question things. It's kind of like, I don't truly trust, right? So let's not do that. Let's just keep a positive attitude. That doesn't mean there aren't going to be things that you don't like. There might be some things you don't like, but just don't talk about them. Like, just don't, if there's a product you don't really love, just don't talk about it. Just don't, you don't need to say like, ew, I really don't like our mascara. Just don't talk about that product. Talk about all the other products that you do love, because there's a lot more things that you love than what you don't love. So growth is better, not bigger. Okay? And then number 4, I wrote down, this is for how to raise up leaders, okay? So as we're growing and your team is growing and you want to keep them engaged and you want to keep them motivated and you want to raise up leaders within your team, it is just a big game in this kind of follow the leader. And it kind of goes back to what I've been talking about. It all starts with you. You need to know what you're doing, know that your team is going to follow you. So Joni once said, I think it was Joni, said your team is going to work about 50% as hard as you work. So if you're working at 50%, they're only going to work about 25%. Think about that. If you're working at 10%, they're going to be working at 5%. Gosh dang, I want to be working at like 200%, so they're working 100%, right? No, but it is true, like in your skin cells, you have mother cells, and the mother cells create like exact replica daughter cells. And it's kind of like that with your team. Like who you are and what you're doing, your team is going to kind of do it. It's duplication, right? We preach duplication. Your team is going to see how you lead, what you do, and they're going to follow you. It's a big game, like I said, of follow the leader. And so you want to make sure you're doing things that are good to be duplicated, right? Unfortunately, if you have a big team, you got lots of eyes on you. You got eyes on you all the time. And so you got to check yourself. You got to see what you're doing and how you can kind of like brush off onto your team, right? So are you ordering 750 PV? You want your team to order 750 PV a month, but are you ordering 750 PV? And I know that like the girls under you can't see what you order, but show them. I always show them like, oh, this was my order. This is a good order. This is a good, if you guys are wanting to order 750 PV, here's what you could order. Show them what you're doing. Show them the order that you're making so that they know, like, you're putting it in too. You're hustling. Show them the sales you're running for the month. Show them how you're selling. You can't stop selling. Selling is what, is the number one thing that keeps your business going. If your girls aren't selling, they're not going to be buying, and then your team is not going to grow. So you got to sell too. You can't just be sitting up comfy at the top and not doing anything. You got to sell. Make your own graphics. If you are making your own graphics, your team is gonna start to make their own graphics. If you're just always copying and pasting things from other people, your team's probably gonna do the same. And the more times something is copied and pasted and copied and pasted and copied and pasted, the blurrier and the crappier the image gets. So let's make our own graphics from time to time. It's okay to use them. That's what they're there for. But from time to time, using, making your own graphics is key, and your team will see that. They will see that you did that, and they will want to do it too. Okay, I started this one, be professional. So, I started this one because it's important, but I also started because I need to work on this myself. So I'm like preaching to the choir here. Leslie Boy Bradley said at Road to Royalty, like, wake up and make up. Wake up every morning like you are getting ready to work a professional job and get your face on. And she puts her face on her hand. And shame on me that I'm not wearing stripes. You guys. I'm doing all kinds of wrong. I promised at Road to Royalty that I would never do that again. I've got some old eyeshadow smudge. Does that count? But wake up and make up. Like, if someone were to call and be like, hey, I want to come pick up lipsticks in 10 minutes, would you be ready? Most days I'm not in makeup. And it's funny because the girls on my team will see me like I'm just like, I look bad some days. And I've let them see me like that. But shame on me. Like, I should not. I need to wake up, get ready for the day. And I don't need to wear this much makeup. Like, this is a lot. I did this for you guys. But at least look presentable. Like, be professional. Like, would you hire you? Like, that's what you got to think in your mind. Like, would you hire? No, I wouldn't hire myself. Most days I'm in, like, weird Christmas pajamas lately. I wouldn't hire me. I need to change that. But be professional, because you are, you're representing a business, like your own business. And I'm talking about, it's okay. It's okay to do that. I'm not saying you can't wear your pajamas, because, I mean, half the time, let's be honest, I'm wearing pajama pants and a cute shirt taking my pictures. Still doing like revenue building things, but I'm talking about like when you're out and about, like try to look presentable when you leave the house when you got your stripes on, because you're gonna want to talk about your lipstick and you're gonna want to look professional doing it. Okay, that's part of being professional. Here's the second part of being professional. Make sure your branding is professional. I know Jalen talked about branding, and that's a great one to go watch. Go watch Jalen talk about branding. But a girl on my team was telling me, like, I know we order a lot of things on Etsy for our kids, and it's so fun to get those handmade, special items. You feel like one-of-a-kind items, and it's so fun to support small business. But if you order something from Etsy and you get it and it's just crumpled in the bottom of a mailer when you get it, how do you feel about that? Like, not so good, right? If you get something and it is better than store-bought, if you get it and the packaging is beautiful and it comes with a tips and tricks card and it comes with a care card and it comes with something a little extra, maybe some confetti, or sometimes these children clothes companies throw in a little candy for your kids. When you get a package like that and it's better than if you went to Target and got it yourself, you're like blown away, right? And it's so professional, and you want to tell people about that business. Like, when I get something in the mail from a company and it's like the packaging itself blows me away, I'm like, all right, I'm posting this on Instagram and I'm tagging them and I'm telling my friends. And like, that's how you need to be with your business. Like, have it be so professional. Have your your little kits, when you mail them out to people, have it look so nice that they want to tell their family and friends about it. And this is something as a leader that you want to show your team. So this is why I started this, be professional, because I need to work on it and I need to get better at it again. But I used to, when I traded colors with girls on my team, I used to send it to them. Like, when we'd just be swapping colors, but like when I would mail it to them, or even if I had hand delivered it to them, I used to put it in a packaging like as if they were a customer, with my business card and everything. This is to my distributors, like girls on my team, but I wanted them to see how I package things. And then the out of stock happened, and I was trading like 50 colors a day. So I kind of stopped doing it, and then I got out of the habit of it. But I want to get back in the habit again, because I want at least new girls on my team to see, like, this is standard. Like, this is how Mandy Odle packages their stuff. This is what you're going to get when you order from Mandy. And so, like, I want that part of my brand to be professional and good. And this is something that when your team sees it, they will repeat. They will do the same thing that you do. If you're professional, they will be professional too. Okay? So, raising up leaders is a big game of follow the leader. So you need to work on you, which goes back to 1 and 2 of my points. Knowing who you are, knowing your why, and knowing your story is all part of building and growing you, and then that's creating the mother cell that will then create amazing, awesome daughter cells, okay? And so the last thing that I wrote down, and this is my favorite one, is get personal with your team. So if you really want your team to grow and you want them to stay motivated and you want them to be in this for the long haul with you, you need to get personal with them. And this is my favorite part of the whole business, more than success or money or like whatever, is the friends that I have built in this business. And getting personal is a big key. So you need to know your girls, and start with your first line girls. You need to know them outside of the business. You need to do things with them outside of the business. You need to have fun outside of the business. And maybe your team doesn't live close to you. Maybe a lot of your girls are out of state. Well, try to get face-to-face with them, if at all possible. I know that's not possible for everybody. It's not. Like if someone lives clear across the country from you. But I will tell you, and Vanessa Aloshaban, I can never say her name right. Sorry, Vanessa. She spoke a few days ago, and she like really stresses how amazing it was that I was willing to fly out to her when she first started. And I didn't know her. She just found me randomly, and I was not making a lot of money with the company at the time, you guys. I really was not in a position to buy a plane ticket. But I believed in this business, and I really believed that if I wanted this to work, if I wanted to explode and grow, I needed to be willing to get face-to-face with people and get out there and get personal. And that's why it's so important to get to live trainings and be face-to-face with people that are training you. It's so motivating and it's so inspiring. And so getting personal with your girls, to me, is like a big part of this business. If you can't fly out and see people, I get it, but like think about it. Like try to plan things. Like if you have a girl in Georgia and your family's traveling to Florida, maybe reach out to your girl and be like, is there any way we can meet up? Like just make it a point. And even if it's on the phone, like it's phone conversations, that's great. But there is really something about a face-to-face. And that's what another thing Vanessa was training on, was face-to-face launches and demos, how important getting away from social media and stepping out of that screen and just getting face-to-face with people is so important. So it's funny because so many of my teammates just see me on a screen, and so often when I meet them, they're like kind of starstruck, which is weird for me because I'm just a normal girl. Like I'm a dork. I do weird, goofy things. I'm normal. But they don't know that because they only see me on a screen. They only see my Instagram. They only see my highlight reel. They only see that. And even though when I'm talking to them, I'm being real, I'm like telling them some of my like dirt and bad stuff, gross stuff, not bad stuff about me. But I'm trying to be honest and real, It's hard to believe until you actually see it. And so when you actually meet them in real life and you get to hang out, then they see like, oh wow, she is just a normal girl. Like she's normal. She's just like me. I can do this. If she can do this, I can do this. And so there is something so important about getting in front of your team and getting face-to-face and having conversations and actually being able to like touch each other, hug each other. Like there's something huge about that. Just recently, a girl on my team, so proud of her, she organized this whole get-together in Nashville for our team, and she invited downlines, uplines, like all of us. So, and people drove from all over. People flew in from California to Nashville. People drove 8, 9, 10 hours. Like everybody made a huge effort, and it was an amazing retreat. We just had like a team retreat, and those are so important, where you're not necessarily training and you're not pushing things like order this, do this, recruit this, you need to do that. You're just having fun as a team. Like, it's such an amazing time, and it's so good for your business, and it's so good for your team building. And when you become friends with the girls on your team, no one wants to quit. You don't want to quit that. It's a sisterhood. It's a friendship. Like, who's going to want to walk away from friends in a business? Like, it's just the most important thing, I really believe. And if you can't get out in person, I get it. I understand. Do something with your team that's just fun. That's not business. Like, maybe play like a fun game with your team, or do some type of like icebreakers, get to know each other type thing virtually. If that's all that you can do, fine, that's fine. But do something every once in a while that's not business related, because so often we're just preaching about how to grow, how to build, how to, what you should order, what you should do, like all these business things. But we need to remember that, like, this is fun. This is a fun business. It's supposed to be fun. We're supposed to wake up with joy and excitement, not feeling like it's work. It is work, but it's fun work, and it's makeup, it's lipstick, like, it's making women feel beautiful. It's so inspiring and so incredible. And so we need to remember that and keep it light and keep it fun. And although there is going to be work involved with our teams, we need to remember that it's not just all work. There's got to be some play in there too. All right, so I am the worst rambler, and I feel like if I don't just stop now, I will just keep talking. I know that I'm sure I forgot some things that I wanted to say to you guys, but this has been so fun, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity to speak to so many of you guys, and I hope to meet so many of you guys at Pit Stop coming up and seminar. I'd love to just give you a big old hug and hang out. Because that's really what it's all about. Just a big group of Senna sisters uniting, right? Like, this business gives me all the feels, all the joy. And I love you guys all so much. Thank you for the hearts. And remember, if you're watching on the replay, I want to get to know you too. So comment too and what you wanted to be when you grow up. All right, bye guys.